Hello, everyone. It's Dr. Jessie Talley, your new faculty coach. And so I wanted to pick up on what I talked about a little bit last week in terms of getting started, right? And so, in talking about getting started, I wanted to kind of go back to talk about motivation. So, to kind of keep this discussion going. And of course, whenever you see this video live, give me some comments. Let me know what you think about this particular topic. So, today we're talking about how motivation is not coming the way that you think. So, most of the times when we go about starting to get started on a project and things of that nature, we're expecting something like a feeling or something to kind of get us jump started, that we're going to like what we're doing and just kind of jump in there and get it done. But the truth is, that's not always the case. And so sometimes we're looking for something that we want, which is that motivation, but we're not actually getting it. Like we just, we wake up and we're like, oh, I feel like I want to go do this today. And so the first thing I wanted to kind of bring up is that motivation. This came from a book that I'm reading from John Maxwell that's talking about the 15 invaluable laws of growth. And so one of the things he mentions in terms of being intentional about your growth, but I'm just thinking about this also in terms of being intentional about the daily things we do as a professor, right? For all my new faculty out there, is that motivation is not going to strike you like lightning. So sometimes we're expecting this like feeling or that it's just going to come that, okay, when I wake up or when I sit down, I'm going to be motivated to get this writing done, or I'm going to be motivated to get my lesson plan done for my class, or I'm going to be motivated to get this administrative work done. And so, depending on what we're doing through the day, or even going through a meeting, right? That motivation may not always be there just like that because of things that happen with us or the way that we've been thinking or different things that we have on our plate. And so that just means, like I said before, that motivation has to come from a different place in order for us to get started. So the way that you think it's going to get started, even if we think about exercising, right? We don't always want to do that. So the next thing I want to talk about is that you actually have to stop waiting. One of the things that prevents us from kind of getting started as well, along with talking about this motivation, right, is you have to stop waiting for the best way to get started with something. Because what we'll tend to do is keep on refining and being perfectionists and bringing that perfectionism into place. And then eventually, what happens is we're still putting that thing to the side. Like we're not getting started, we're not doing it, right? And so basically, we have to stop waiting for refining that process and being like, oh, I finally got it. This is the best way. Then eventually, what comes into play is later. Oh, I'll do that later. I'll do it on Wednesday or I'll do it on Friday. And then it comes into the next week. And then it's like the next month. And then it's the next year. So later, in some instances of what we're doing, can be a dream killer. So we'll find ourselves that paper or that grant or the particular committee work or different things that we're supposed to be doing as a part of our jobs, right, from day to day, eventually gets put to the back burner. So those things that we have set in our hearts to do to make an impact based on what we had planned or what we want our particular tenure track process to be, we basically, kill it by saying, oh, I'll do it later because I don't have time. But the thing is, you should make strides to do it right now. And doing it right now may look different from everyone else. But the thing is, you want to make sure that you don't wait for that best time, but that you get started. Because what happens is you'll eventually start seeing other people doing different things. If you're kind of keeping up with people in your circles, right? And other assistant professors, you'll feel like they're passing you by in some instances. But in actuality, it's you have some things written down. And I want to remind you of that. You put some things down on paper, you've discussed some things with mentors, and all you did was put it down and you left it there on that paper. And so now it's time for you to pick that paper up, pick those ideas up, and do something on them right now. So, the last thing that I wanted to leave you with is that what you should do, why that motivation is not coming, is because you need to start shifting, commit to shifting those things from the back burner to the present, right? So, that just basically means you have to take some action. So, action is the thing that he actually mentions in his book that actually brings forth the motivation. So, if you watched my video last week, I talked about trying to get started on a grant, and I kind of was putting it off, procrastinating, because it's like, I don't know about this. But the thing was, the moment I sat down and actually started putting some action and mapping it out, just to kind of remind you of that, actually starting, not waiting for it to be perfect, not trying to have it polished, but just writing down some tangible steps to take and basically committing to bringing that into the present with me, and just like, let me just put something down on paper. That is when the motivation actually started up for me. So when I actually put some action forth towards whatever I was doing. And so the things that kind of, as I mentioned today, that kind of prevent us from getting that motivation is not actually taking action and getting started. And so sometimes we sit with those limiting beliefs that we might have, or what we see that other people are doing and things of that nature, that get us off course from what we have already written down on paper. Like, we already have things set forth that we want to do. But the thing is, we think that because someone else has already done it, or we think because we have all of these things on our plate, or like I said, those limiting beliefs get in, and we just kind of say, "Oh, I'll do that later," like I said before, which is basically killing that process for us, making us think that we have time. And some things have deadlines, right? And so we don't have time. And so what you want to do is try to figure out, what do you need to put into place to actually get those things done. Actually try to do something a little bit every day. What is that plan? What does that look like for you? The key thing is to figure that out and to do something right now. Take some action to get that thing done. And then you will see some momentum start again. And you'll see your motivation begin to skyrocket, because you'll be like, oh, okay, I kind of know what I'm supposed to be doing now. And so that's what you want to keep with you as you go throughout the semester, because as things begin to pile up in terms of the roles and the responsibilities that we have, then we need to make sure that we do that. And so I wanted to share that with you, because sometimes, like I said before, we kind of get into this space where we feel like, oh, I'm not really feeling like doing this right now. And we're not going to always feel like doing everything that we want to do. And so we have to take some type of action to kind of like jumpstart us and get us out of that kind of funk that we're in. And so that's one thing I'm going to do today. So let me know in the comments what you're going to do to take action on, so you can build up that motivation